We've lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're drive-in theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Good evening, everybody. What's going on? It is 8 o'clock Monday night, Central Standard Time. It is September 9th, 2024. You are tuned into the Drive-In Speaker Box again, the podcast with all of the answers to life. And we got thanks for the sub over on Twitch. We got Vince at a 38-month streak. Shout-outs right there. The show is recorded live. I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator.
I'm Slick Doggy the Grip.
And if you were wanting to tune into the action, if you were downloading this podcast wherever it is you download your podcasts, like, I don't know, Spotify or whatever, think about getting on the stream. It's a lot of fun. You can view it wherever it is you like to view stream, be it Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or Twitch. Twitch is not just for gamers. I get a lot of people that say that. I'm like, yeah, Twitch is a lot of fun. We do the pre-show, and they go, I don't do video games. And I'm like, well, yeah, neither do we. Like, it's not a streaming. It's not about video games,
Yeah.
We don't have to do games. We can actually, even advertising. Stream Elements wanted me to start advertising like Food Loops. Like, if we could get a sponsorship with Food Loops, and I'm not Food Loops, like HelloFresh or one of those other whatever platforms. And they're like, if one person signs up to that with our code, then we get like $100, dude.
Whoa!
Right? So
I think about those all the time because it does seem like a good idea.
I might just
don't have
I might start to be a partner. And then I'll sign up to get the first $100 and then try it. And you sign up to try it and get the second $100. And then this just becomes like a cooking show. And and we're just
finally reimbursed for two of these items.
Yeah, no joke. Well, anyway, we are here to talk about movies. And thanks for joining us, everyone. We are we saw Beetlejuice.
We did.
Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. How many times? Like, if you say it too many times. Anyway, we're going to be talking about that later in the show. That's going to be coming up at the news portion of the show.
Infinite Money Glitch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mark over on YouTube tuning in. Infinite Money Glitch. Trust me. That's one of the reasons I haven't revealed my Movie Pass secret. Let's just go up to the Movie Pass. That's right there. I was OG Movie Pass. See it? But I'm new school Movie Pass, and I will not reveal my Movie Pass secret, but it's awesome, and I love it. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about movies. We're going to talk about what happened this past week in the news. Then we're going to talk about Beetlejuice. Then we're going to talk about the box office roundup, and then by that time the show will probably be over.
Generally how it works.
Yeah. So let's jump into the news. Do we want to start with the sad shit, or do we want to start with some happy shit?
Let's get the sad one out of the way because that's like fresh. That's super fresh.
I mean, literally on the drive to the studio today because I get here really early to warm up all these lava lamps. But yeah, man, the voice has left us.
Yeah.
James Earl Jones passed away today.
Yeah.
At age 93. And dude,
he was 93.
He was 93.
Dude, what a legend, too.
Velvet Santa says, how did he die? He was 93 is how he died. I mean, does it at a certain point, does it matter, like, how you died when you're, like, 93? It's just, like, it's sad, man. I mean, it's when you're 93, it's it's coming at some point.
What a career, though, to be Darth Vader. To be Mufasa.
To be Thulsa Doom.
Dude. That's exactly where I was going next.
To be Eddie Murphy's dad in Coming to America.
Yeah, King Joffrey.
To be just like James Earl Jones.
He was in Meteor Man. He was in The Sandlot.
He was in Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
He was in, oh God. It's just James Earl Jones was so freaking iconic.
He was in Roots.
Oh yeah, I mean that was number one. I mean he was in every edition of a television series. He always in The Sandlot. He was.
Yeah, I said Sandlot.
I didn't hear you say Sandlot.
His name, Mr. Myrtle.
He was in Sneakers.
Yeah, Vince. He was in Doctor Strangelove.
I mean, this dude, and you heard his voice quite literally everywhere. I mean, James Earl Jones, like it was so freaking iconic. I was listening to some clips. I was like, best of James Earl Jones, just voice. Earlier, and there was one clip that I thought was really funny. It was an old Letterman clip, and I'm just gonna play the audio from this because I'm afraid if I play the video, then we're gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna play.
But even the audio, they track that kind of thing. We can't have it.
You think they will? You think they're gonna? But this isn't like music.
No, but that doesn't stop like Sony from getting people.
Fuck them. But this is top 10 things
that was here earlier.
that sound cool.
Top 10 things that sound cool when spoken by James Earl Jones. Here we go. Number 10.
I can't believe it's not butter.
No.
And this is like actually James Earl Jones.
Objects in mirror may be closer than they appear.
Now you're putting up a video.
I mean, just for like a second.
Yeah.
Number 8.
J-Lo in the house.
There's one that was really, really funny.
Number 7.
Click here now for the hottest sex sites on the web.
Anyway, I mean, he had a sense of humor about it. He was super funny. He was super iconic. Like the dude was doing stuff literally until he died. Like, I mean, let me pull up his IMDb.
I think his last thing was that he was the voice of Vader for Obi-Wan.
Yeah, in the Obi-Wan Kenobi television miniseries. Like, he was in that. He was in physically was in Coming to America 2 in 2021, reprising his role as King Jaffe. And just until his dying breath, like what, as Bernardo on Facebook said, like the GOAT, like totally the GOAT. And and this is going to be a really interesting thing because there was already some news happening in the Hollywoodosphere in the past couple of weeks about the movie. Just Alien Romulus that just came out, and SAG was kind of, how do we deal with people on screen that are dead, right? Ian Holm, of course, from Alien Romulus, reprising his character, but Ian Holm has been dead for a while.
From Romulus.
And how do you approach that from the Screen Actors Guild in terms of who gets compensated, who has rights? Because James Earl Jones' voice is so iconic, and he has read audiobooks, he has done so many roles that voice is truly iconic. That where does AI come into play and say that there's been so many recorded things of James Earl Jones that we can just make the James Earl Jones voice forever now? And I think we're going to start seeing that because, we're losing these icons, and there's still a demand for it. And Hollywood is more nefarious than they've ever been, and AI is getting smarter by the day. It's kind of a scary thing to think about, but I don't know. Anyway, Dina over on Twitch said, y'all talked about a few years how he sold the rights to his voice away for AI. Yeah, he I think for certain Star Wars properties he did.
Yeah, I thought it was like just Vader voice.
Yeah, so it's gonna be weird to see how that evolves, because as we see more and more iconic Hollywood people pass on, then their estate's only going to have so much power to argue before corporations that don't seem to die. They just, become the Dread Pirate Roberts of the media companies. I don't know. I want to keep an eye on it. But James Earl Jones, man.
Yeah.
Sad shit.
Super bummer.
Okay. More fun news. in the Beetlejuice world, this was fun. So all these like new millennial goth kids can totally rejoice because all you mall goths that are just now getting into the Beetlejuice franchise, you can now watch all 4 seasons of the Tim Burton Beetlejuice cartoon on Warner Brothers Discovery now has it on, I'm sorry, Max, but you can. It's there. It was really hard to get beforehand, but it was a pretty cool 4-season cartoon series that if you didn't grow up in that time, you never got to experience it. But now that Beetlejuice Mania is taking over, you can check it over.
Somewhere I have the toys that were in like Happy Meals or kids meals or whatever. Some fast food restaurant had those toys because I had the Back to the Future toys and the Beetlejuice toys, and those were just the coolest for a kid in the 90s.
So that's some good news. What do you got? What do you got on your paper over there?
Talking more nostalgia crap, Masters of the Universe live action cast its evil Lynn. It's going to be Allison Brie.
I mean, why are we doing a live action? Why?
I don't know, because that's how they. Just how they do.
It's funny because like Transformers, we did live action for so long where we're like, God, please stop, no. And now we're getting an animated Transformers, but now we're getting live action Masters of the Universe.
So did you see the newest, did you see the newest Transformers trailer? Because in all the trailers before this, it was like how Megatron and Optimus were buddies that gained the power to transform together from some cave wizard transformer. It was like Bumblebee, Megatron, Optimus.
Like, now you have the power.
And then whoever the pink one is. But like they all got this power. But the newest trailer actually shows that Megatron warps and becomes evil in this movie. And Optimus
and then they're
Megatron,
like, yo, you're my homie. And he goes, eat this bullet.
Yeah. It looks way cooler with the new trailer where you actually see them like
betrayal.
fight each other instead of it just being like an unnecessary dumb origin story that
where they're just like homies.
Revamps how transforming works. So it's like, well, not all Transformers transform. That would be stupid. Only special ones given the power by cave wizards have the ability to transform.
So why are they called Transformers?
Yeah, why are they Transformers? The new trailer makes it look a bit better. I still don't know about it. Talking things that we don't need, too many movies. There's Ocean's 14. Brad Pitt and
what are they going to rob? A nursing home?
George Clooney are both.
They're like, we got to get our medications.
In talks.
It's like spy music, and they're trying to go get more medication. And
well, I don't know. But Pitt and Clooney are both in talks to reprise their roles to come back for Ocean's 14. I didn't know that there was a 13. I thought there was 11 and 12.
It wasn't great.
Well, then they did that all-female remake or the Sandra Bullock one that like nobody watched, right?
Yeah.
Well, and more unnecessary sequels. Happy Gilmore 2. Adam Sandler posted a picture of the hockey jersey, and a quote from Happy Gilmore where he was like, "The way I see it, we've only just begun." You know, when he's making his comeback against Shooter after the jackass guy
pieces of shit for breakfast.
So Happy Gilmore 2 is a thing. Production has begun. Who asked for it? Not me. I don't know.
Griff on Twitch asks, when can we get original movies again? We can't, because this is all our fault. And
we could, but no one likes them.
And as not to call any of our viewers out, but it's like the more people that ask if I should go to a movie theater to watch this, should I pay $10 to watch this, or I'll wait for it on streaming, or do I need to get dressed to go? This is why we only get shit that is repackaged versions of old shit, and it's because they know that we are contractually and socially obligated to put our fucking shoes on and go to the movie theater when it's like, what other thing did you love that you just cannot stop yourself from going and seeing whatever we threw together that's more in this lore that you worship? And instead of going, because people are too afraid to spend $8 on a new idea when they're like, even though this is probably going to be bad, I'll still give it $8 because at least I get to see, Beetlejuice again in a striped suit. I've been waiting 30-something years. And we got to take a chance on something. I don't understand why people will take a chance on a Doritos Loco, like, burger dia nacho fry. They're like, oh, yeah, I'll try that. And then they won't go spend arguably less money to go to the theater and see a movie that they may or may not have ever heard of. I don't get that, because you're probably going to shit your pants trying one of these things for $15, but you're just going to maybe not enjoy an hour and 45 minutes for $10. Yeah.
Well, and the lack of originality continues with so many things. Kathy Bates is doing a reboot of Matlock. But she said that's going to be her last acting job because it's just too much strain and it's not fun.
Matlock?
She's done. Yeah. Isn't that weird?
Are there any living audience people that this would be relevant to?
I mean, I like Matlock. A reboot of it's not relative to me because Matlock's still good. Have you watched episodes of Matlock recently? It holds up so well. It's so good.
Because Andy Griffith's cool.
Yeah, and he just goes to towns and he's like, well, I might just be some country lawyer, but murder solved. And everyone's like, wow, whoa, thanks, dude. Yeah.
And he whistles off into the sunset.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know about all this L.A. fancy stuff. I'm just from the country, but murder solved, murder solved, murder solved. Here's all your evidence. I'm out. And everyone's like, dude, Matlock rules. And they're so good. But that's because
Andy Griffith is so good. Like, that's the magic. The magic was there.
There for a while, closing up the bar at nighttime, Matlock would come on and we'd accidentally take forever closing the bar or just sit there after we were done because we'd have to finish our episode of Matlock because it's captivating. It's such a good show. And it's like so entertaining.
I mean, yeah. And that theme song?
Yeah.
Because it's Andy Griffith. He's the best, man. Like, how do you
also, procedural crime dramas are just generally fun shows.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Law and Order.
Dude, I love Law and Order. Every one of them. They're so good.
Look at that creepy opening that had the freeze frame on his face for it, and her face for a minute. Like starring Linda Pearl.
It was a weird time. But the
why didn't they freeze frame his face?
The reboots and the
King Holiday is Tyler Hudson.
The lack of originality does not end there. We're getting plenty of it in the horror side of things, being that it is that spooky season you guys were talking about.
Wolfman.
Yeah, Wolfman. Did you see the teaser they released?
I did see the teaser.
I don't know what that's all about. It's just a super weird teaser that you don't get much from. You get a couple of hands. You get some hand shots, and that's all you get. You get some curled fingers on the ground.
That's
maybe
all you
it's
need.
wolf transformation. You get them reaching through windshields, trying to scratch at people.
They're like, Papa, no.
Yeah, Daddy,
Papa,
no. Yeah, is that you, Daddy? Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm not real excited about the updating of the Wolfman. Because even when the Wolfman came out in the when the Wolfman was popular in the 30s and 40s, it was still set before then. It was there's candles,
right?
And
and does this make sense to be in modern Oregon? I don't know how I feel about that either. There was a lot. There's a lot in the trailer, and there's a lot of nothing in it at the same time. Teaser, not trailer. Teaser.
Shout outs to Derpy Entertainment on YouTube. Thanks for jumping in, man. Good evening.
But that is out there, so we got our first look at the this continuation of horror reboot.
Universal Studios is trying. They're investing a lot of money in building in the dark universe section of the theme park. Which is going to be exciting, and giving new life to these characters that are just so visually iconic. And it's a weird thing because. And I think I've said this on the show, and I think I maybe said it last year around this season, that, while these characters are visually iconic, we don't remember their movies very well. Because a lot of these movies are almost 100 years old. And, everybody knows Creature from the Black Lagoon and Wolfman and Frankenstein and The Mummy and Dracula and, the Universal. And some people even remember The Invisible Man. Not as many, but they're out there. When's the last person?
I feel like that one's the most memorable of them outside of Frankenstein.
No, it's just because we like good movies, and it's one of the best ones.
Okay. Because to me, it's Frankenstein is the easiest one to remember and know the story and what happened in the characters, and then Invisible Man is second for sure.
Well, so
because Creature from the Black Lagoon, nothing happens in that movie. It's just a very slow-paced,
looks badass,
boring movie. Yeah.
But Invisible Man. One time I dressed up as the Invisible Man. And literally nobody knew who I was.
What?
They were all like, "Oh, mummy guy, mummy person with goggle guy," and I'm like,
"Really?
The fuck?" And then
they didn't even see the Chevy Chase.
No, Memoirs of an Invisible Man, which is awesome. And then one person, and I will give credit to this one person. They were like, "Oh, Darkman." And I'm like, "Okay, all right, okay."
I mean, Darkman does
bandages, but he doesn't have the goggles. It was just bandages. But I was like, okay, all right, you're onto something. But no, not a soul said, "Oh man, Invisible Man, that's cool." And I suffered through bandages on my face, pro bandages, not fake ass Spirit Halloween bandages. These were real deal bandages, and it sucked.
I just realized that there's that spectrum, right? There's the Chevy Chase Invisible Man who's a bad person but not a bad guy,
right? And
then there's the Invisible Man, and then there's Dark Man. This is the bandage spectrum, because Dark Man is Invisible Man if he just yells curse words at you, then
he can't. He's invisible only in the sense that he changes his face.
Right,
so
he blends in. And then there's Kevin Bacon as Hollow Man.
Hollow Man.
Yeah, just the super evil. So that's the Bandage Boy spectrum of good to neutral, evil.
Because the OG Invisible Man, he was just went insane. He was just crazy, and I was laughing all the time. I was like, "Ha ha! Look what I can do! This cup!" And
because you can't see yourself,
you're just like, "What?" But anyway, Universal's making this move, but that's where the weird question comes into play, because I think that people are so addicted to the iconography, and it can be whatever they want it to be. So when you dress up as Frankenstein or the Wolfman, you get to make that. You're like, "Yes, I'm the Wolfman, and this is my lore, and I'm the Mummy, and I'm King, whoever Fartenhamen, and you don't have to base it off these movies because you probably haven't seen these movies because they're 100 years old. But when you make these new movies and they don't land and they're not this iconic visual thing, then it's kind of leaves people with a bad taste in their mouth, which I think has happened before when they tried to, resurrect, say, the Mummy, and that didn't work very well. And then even the Wolfman with Benicio del Toro, which could have been really good, but
that movie just didn't have a good story, but it had good visuals. And The Mummy with Tom Cruise would have been cool if it wasn't
called The Mummy.
Yeah. Because I was like, this is not a bad movie. It's just bad.
I don't even think there was a single pyramid in that whole movie where they're, because that's the thing is they're in this tomb and it's quiet and there's these two doctors going, "Oh, well, we found the tomb of some child. Maybe we shouldn't open it," and it opened it, and then one dude that's just sitting there having a sandwich gets mummy cursed and some scarabs eat his feet, and it's spooky.
Scarabs eat his feet.
It's not this chicken bandages leaping from building to building and then climbing up your plane and crashing it.
Yeah,
that's.
You know what? Talking about the reboots and stuff too here, and horror classics, the vampires, the Nosferatuian vampire people. We got a clip from the new Salem's Lot remake as well. Did you see this?
That I didn't see.
There's nothing there that you missed. They released this clip, and they're like, check it out, because they've had a couple of stills from it, but now they have like a little clip there, and it's the vampire hunters standing in this building, and they're like thinking about going up these stairs, but this door to the basement opens, and then they get their way down there, and then the clip cuts right as the suspense builds. So you don't get to see vampires, you don't get to see anything, you just see a guy grab a steak from a backpack and getting ready.
You know, Salem's Lot is another very iconic vampire. And, because it really borrowed heavily from the Nosferatu style.
Yeah.
And that character is a famous vampire, which, we're now coming back into the world of Nosferatu style ugly vampires with the new Eggers film that's coming out this Christmas, just the remake of Nosferatu. So I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about a Salem's Lot.
Yeah, well, and it's going to be on Max next month, so you'll get to see how you feel about it pretty soon. But then finally stepping into a world of perhaps somewhat new ideas as far as on film, we got an update for the Robert Pattinson Batman 2.
Did we?
From the director there. He posted a thing kind of teasing the plot points of it, which is that Batman's discovering the corruption of Gotham and how deep it goes, more than he could have ever believed in the first film. It sounds like to me that it's a tease for the Court of Owls, that they're probably going to go in that direction, which I don't like. I don't like anything that bases it on comics that have been made in the last 10 or 20 years instead of the preceding 100 years before it or whatever, 70 years of comics. But that's what it sounds like it's going to be. That's going to be original to live action film, as far as I know. I don't know that they've shown anything Court of Owls in any of the live action movies. There is animated movie around it, and one of the video games as well, but I don't know that there's been anything put to film. So that's a thing that's going to happen, somewhat original. And then an original movie that no one seemed to care about much, Horizon. Still
more
in the
Horizon news?
Yeah, so
riding into the sunset
on this past weekend, Horizon 2 was at some European film festival, Venice or something like that, and there were several different versions of what happened. I saw things that said that it had a several minute ovation, like people stood and applauded and cheered and was like, yeah, hell yeah, after this movie. But then every critic that chose to write about it was like, no, I think it stunk. So it's like the audience loved it, but the people that write about it chose to bash it. However, Horizon 1 hit streaming, and it was like a super successful thing on streaming. Last week it was number 5. This week it was still it was in the top 10. It was number 10. So it's doing fantastically well on streaming. So people are watching Horizon at home.
I think we predicted that.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew, because everybody's like, I don't know, it's 3 hours long, it's a Western, but it's good. I mean, you saw it, you liked it, and it's one of those things that people are not necessarily willing to take I mean, it's a great example of what I was saying earlier. People weren't really willing to take a chance seeing it in a theater, and they're like, I'll wait till streaming. But look what happened, and now you crushed its theatrical release for the second one, and now they're having to figure it out because they're like, well, nobody saw it at the theater, must have hated it. But anyway,
dude, Vince, I love Westerns, and it's an original. It's something. It's a unique, well, not completely unique, but it's
I don't know if there's anything unique.
It's a fairly unique...
You still haven't seen Bowden Tomahawk.
Well, I know what happens. It's a fairly unique way of telling a story that hasn't been told, and it's something that you don't get a lot of. I really like Westerns. I like anthologies a lot of the time, and, it's a cool idea to show how the West was won and conquered and changed, and showing it from all perspectives. It has cowboys, it has Native Americans, it has settlers, it has the outlaws, and it has the army, and you get to see all sorts of stuff. I think it's a cool idea. I like the first one. I want to see the second one. I think that it has goofy, weird love that sprouts up. That was kind of the weird part about it. But I don't know. There's room out there for Horizon, and people aren't willing to give it a chance. And it's weird that people are like, "Oh, 3-hour long movie is so long," but they're like, "Avengers is 7 hours,"
and I'm gonna go binge through all of Grogu and Mandalorian tonight.
Yeah, it's really not a thing to complain about anymore. But anyhow, that's out there. It's still making the news. Maybe we'll get part 2 somewhere.
All right, well, I think we need to shift and tell you what's coming out in theaters this week, because there's a lot of new releases. They're not all huge ones, but there's a lot of new stuff coming out this weekend for the weekend of September 13th, 2024. We're going to tell you what's coming out in theaters this week so you can plan your schedules accordingly. There's a lot of stuff. It's all mostly smaller run stuff. There's a couple of very smaller run movies like How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies, which you may have seen the trailer for this. It actually looks kind of cool. It's probably not getting any sort of wide release. It's probably going to be very limited, but it is. It's an East Asian film about a man quitting work to care for his dying grandmother, motivated by trying to make sure he can get his inheritance, but then he. Like most movies about young people trying to scheme old people, they're like, "Oh my God, these old people are so wise and so awesome, and I probably shouldn't have tried to screw them over." But been hearing really good things about that, but it's coming out this weekend. Also in a relatively limited release, but featuring a crazy ensemble cast, it is The Critic, and it directed by Arnon Tucker. It is starring Gemma Arterton, who I have not seen in a long time. She's super cool. And Ian McKellen, also Mark Strong and Ben Barnes in this movie. So a really cool cast of folks. And it's about in 1930s London, a powerful theater critic threatened by the new owner of a newspaper where he works enlists a young actress to help prevent his boss from firing him. So getting a lot of good reviews on that one too. It's supposed to be only in theaters for a limited time, but I don't know if it's going to get a big national release, but it'll probably be in what we call expanded. And not The Critic, as some of the people on Twitch are saying, with John Lovitz.
What a good show.
Thanks. Which is a fantastic show. Although it doesn't age very well. I have it on DVD, and I got a Wild Hair once not too long ago to pop in the DVD, and it's kind of like the Family Guy, where everything is so hyper of the moment, and a lot of the jokes are like, if you didn't watch the news that week, you would have missed it. And so now it's like going back and trying to remember a week that happened in like 1994. It's a little hard. But anyway, at the time, The Critic was a fantastic show. Let's see.
I used to. The Critic and Duckman were like.
I do.
Just the two.
Would you like to borrow my DVD of Duckman? I have the whole thing on DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah,
dude.
and like, cause it's out of print too. You can't. Or at least it was when I got my copy.
I think like they used to show those back to back
on
late
USA.
Night. Yeah, they would do the USA, and they'd show the like.
It was
the
back
old,
before adult animation was a huge thing.
And I would get so tickled at both of those.
But did I say Buttman? No, I didn't. Duckman. Well, Duckman is a Buttman if you watch the show. Anyway, also coming out is Hereafter. It is another one of these. It's the horror flavor of the week. It's about this Claire, who is played by Connie Britton. You've seen her before. She's probably the biggest cast member of this whole film. She's overjoyed when her daughter Robin is miraculously revived after a fatal accident, but her relief turns into dread as Claire notices changes in her daughter, suspecting something dark has followed her back from the brink of death. So, yeah, that one's coming out. I remember seeing the trailer for this a long time ago, and it looked kind of boring, but it also still looks kind of boring. And then there's the two that are probably going to get in theaters near you. The Killer's Game, which you've probably seen the preview to this. It is directed by J.J. Perry, starring Dave Bautista and other people, but Dave Bautista most importantly. It is about, it's John Wick. It's John Wick with Dave Bautista, I guess.
Kinda.
It's a veteran assassin, thinks he's diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, authorizes a kill on himself. But after ordering the kill, he finds out that he's not dying after all, and then he still cannot remove the hit, and so he has to fight off all these assassins in a world of assassins where there's assassins everywhere, because I guess it's just such a booming market Killer's Game. I mean, it looks like a fun action movie.
It has like Terry Crews and Palm Clementoff and
Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, I forgot Ben Kingsley. Drew McIntyre's on the poster, but I haven't seen. I don't recall seeing him in the trailer. That'll be cool. Oh, Scott Adkins is in it.
Scott Adkins.
Scott Adkins is super cool. But that's probably what I'm going to be watching, just because I like action movies.
Well, I am probably going to go see Speak No Evil, which is the other movie.
I don't want to see that.
And I'm really only going to see it mainly because I really like James McAvoy. And you've probably seen the trailer a million times. I'm actually tired of seeing the trailer. But it's about a family invited to spend a weekend at this country house, unaware that their dream vacation will soon become a psychological nightmare. Super Airbnb gone wrong. We've got James McAvoy and Mackenzie Davis like against each other with, tertiary family cast members at the lead. So it's James McAvoy. It is just, he's so thick now that it's scary. Like, remember when he was just like, I'm Professor Xavier and I'm young and handsome, and now he's like thick-necked and like, I'm gonna axe murder you. James McAvoy is just such a cool actor. I really like watching him, and kind of reprising his psychotic trip that he did. What was it? Was it Split? Was it? I think it was Split. Whatever
Split.
Yeah. Where he was just like happy then mean and happy then mean. He plays a really good psychopath, and I think it looks fun. So let's see. In the comments on Twitch, Beazle Bubba Ding Dong says, if that movie is like the Euro it's based on, people are going to be big mad. Well, it's possible. Let's see. Yeah, that looks good. Bushwhack. Okay, we're caught up in the chat. But yeah, Speak No Evil coming out in theaters this week, and that's pretty much it. That's a lot. Do you think it's gonna dethrone any of the other movies that are? I don't think there's.
No.
I mean, Beetlejuice is still can command, and Deadpool and Wolverine just can't quit.
No. Yeah, that one's gonna. That Deadpool Wolverine's gonna go back up again. It's bound to.
I mean, well, we'll see. But Deadpool and Wolverine have to contend with the movie that we're about to talk about, which is Beetlejuice. So, all right, guys, so we can get to what you came for. Beetlejuice, the sequel to the 1988 film of the singular name Beetlejuice. Tim Burton returning to the director's seat. A lot of returning cast members. Michael Keaton returning as Beetlejuice. Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara. It's a who's who of just. I think that's it.
Three.
That's the big ones, because everybody else was kind of gone and not really required. And the character Charles, returns.
Let me ask you anything, or something. Was anything in this movie required?
Was this movie required?
No.
But that's where, and we have not said a word to each other about this movie yet. And I liked it.
What?
I liked it a lot.
How? What?
I liked it a lot with 2 asterisks.
Did you sleep through 2 hours of the movie?
No. I went to a movie that was 30 years too late with characters that should have stayed in the ground and said, I'm going to give it a chance. How on earth can they recreate this story and make it something that's watchable? And they did. And by that, I think it's a success. I think that with what they were trying, how could it have been better?
What part is... There's so many ways. What part of this movie is watchable? There's like 6 stories, and not one of them.
2 of them
should have been there. They don't need the evil ex-wife.
Monica Bellucci was the one I was going to say.
It was completely pointless.
Completely pointless.
And big time spoiler alert, because there's like 7 villains in this movie, or like antagonist or whatever. The ex-wife did not need to be there. So
she was only there as a point to give an origin story to Beetlejuice.
And we did not need Beetlejuice's origin. And giving him an origin takes away from it. So apparently, Beetlejuice is a Spaniard that was a grave robber during the Black Plague.
Yeah.
And he had no problem licking his fingers after touching dead bodies. That's not what killed him. This lady poisoned him. So he was just a dirty, nasty, grave thief, butthole man.
But it does illustrate why he's such a shyster.
But you don't need it. You don't need to know anything about it.
I think that her character and Justin Theroux character could have been completely removed for this movie, and it would have worked.
Yeah, the manager was unnecessary.
Justin Theroux was just playing an extremely overly hammed version of himself.
The ex-wife
he's played that
was
character so many times.
Unnecessary. The Catherine O'Hara's character was not necessary.
Neither was Catherine O'Hara's character.
That's fine, but she didn't need to be there. And Jenna Ortega did not need to be there.
I thought that she was a required plot element to make the movie make sense.
The one part of the story that made sense, and the only part that they abandoned, was that Beetlejuice is stalking Lydia, and that was the only part they needed to have. They did not need to have any other part of this movie.
So what they could have done,
forced and manufactured and
fake. Of course, it was forced and manufactured. It's Beetlejuice the sequel, but. What I think Jenna Ortega's character was appropriately cast and required because there was no reason for Lydia to ever encounter Beetlejuice again because she knows about him.
Well,
and she
not the case, because Beetlejuice's entire thing is that he's been stalking her since he got returned to the afterlife.
Ghosts,
and she can see him every now and then. She said that she has seen him for 20 or 30 years. Long before Jenna Ortega's character was born.
She avoided it and avoided it and avoided it. And the only reason that she was like, okay, her line was, I can't believe I'm doing this, because she needed his help. And she was like, I'm going to shyst Beetlejuice this time.
But he didn't need the daughter to exist, because he was becoming more and more in Lydia's life without anything to do with the daughter whatsoever. And it was at Charles' death that she had that connection and would be sorrowful, and that made it where Beetlejuice could have his stronger connection with Lydia. They laid that whole thing out there. None of these other characters needed to be there. Neither did Murder Boy.
No, I liked Murder Boy. I liked the storyline with Murder Boy. I thought it
would have been cool if it was something instead of 5 minutes.
It was too rushed over, but I thought it was a really cool way of creating a plot point that Lydia's estranged daughter finally realized that, oh my God, my mom wasn't full of shit. And instead of just like Beetlejuice comes out and she's like, "Oh my God, Mom was right."
There was so many things that in this movie that could have been solved in these people's lives over 30 years with one sentence explanations. Why can't you see my dead dad if you can see ghosts? Oh, well, that's because all ghosts are location-based. They haunt a specific area, and they can't leave that area. He died in the middle of nowhere on the Amazon, and we have no way of finding him, so I can't speak with his ghost because he may be stuck in the Amazon, and we can never find him.
But that wouldn't explain Beetlejuice, because Beetlejuice is not location-based.
Immigration, which is the whole thing, which is dumb, because they make them location-based. They have Danny DeVito's character just to be a racist janitor who's like, foreigners.
That was a cameo. They just just wanted a cameo.
And then, so you're like, okay, well, they don't see people from different countries very much. The underworld is all based around the overworld, location-wise. And so if Beetlejuice is a Spaniard, how did he end up in the Americas? It makes no sense. It's all very dumb. And how did the dad dead in Brazil make his way to be a civil servant?
Well, how did Shrunken Head Guy in the first movie find his way into the waiting room of the underworld? Is because it's not, you don't overthink it, right?
Turning the Shrunken Head Guys into the
minions,
the Goombas from the Mario Brothers live action movie
that were minions because they're dressed in yellow and they run around.
They were the Goombas. They had the suits and the tiny heads, and so it wasn't just the one cool Shrunken Head Guy from the first movie. It was the Goombas from Mario.
Yes, and I didn't have a problem with it.
No, they were like one of the two good parts of the movie.
Like the character design, I mean, Tim Burton still can shoot. It's visually stunning. It is an incredible movie to watch, just visually. It's so much fun to watch. But where we totally agree is Justin Theroux's character and Monica Bellucci's character completely. Because here's how I would have rewritten it.
It's left completely unresolved.
Oh, yeah, because they're like, oh, can we make a third one maybe? But you could have taken Monica, like Dolores, who, like, you can't even remember her name because she's so unimportant of a character. You could have took her character out completely. You could have taken Justin Theroux's character out completely.
Yep.
And Beetlejuice could have been stalking Lydia, trying to find a way to get back into her life, but then through circumstances that are put into place by the young boy ghost, who is just a tiny little narrative hook, to find a way to get back into, hey, Lydia, I can help you. I'm going to try and make nice because you need my help, which they kind of got to, but then they kept throwing it because Monica Bellucci's character was only there to make modern audiences not hate Beetlejuice because there has been a lot of dialogue on the internet.
He's still a bad guy, though.
But that's the problem with this.
There's too many bad guys.
There's too many bad guys to the point where Beetlejuice is almost a good guy that is
until the last
second.
Yeah.
But I think this is because studios right now have a very, very, very difficult time with villains because of everybody getting triggered. I mean, there are enough people on the internet that say that Beetlejuice is a problematic movie because he's trying to marry a teenager. And you're like, yeah, okay,
that's
cool.
A part of him is that he's
a bad guy.
Creep.
You're not supposed to like him.
He's a creep.
Fucking evil creep. And it's just because we like the character and we like the movie doesn't mean that we're celebrating an evil creep that wants to marry a kid. We can go, this movie fucks. It's great. I like it. But now they're like, no, we can't make him do anything that's actually questionably bad except for murder that one kid. But then he's a murder rapist, killing a murder rapist. So therefore, I guess it cancels out any bad doings that Beetlejuice has ever done because he's a hero in a moment. And it's kind of like why Wicked is so popular. It's like we can't have it, the bad guys have to be good guys, and everybody has to be a good guy.
Not a movie to take serious. Go and have fun. I wanted to have fun. I went to have fun. My girlfriend went, and she was very excited about it. And there were parts of the movie.
Did she like it?
At the end of it, no, absolutely not. She was like, that was bad. She looked at me and it was so
She's
sad.
hanging out with you too much.
No, I didn't say anything. But there was so much of it you didn't need. If I was going to rewrite it, all those characters wiped, and if you're going to keep the Lydia being pursued by Beetlejuice part, that's fine. And if the daughter has to be there, have it that Beetlejuice targets the daughter. And that how he brings Lydia sense. Back. And then Willem Dafoe's character would make more sense.
Yes.
The ghost cop would make more sense with Beetlejuice going after Jenna Ortega's character, with Lydia needing to be the hero in the situation once again. Right? And she doesn't have the help of the Maitlands, but that's because she has now lived in that world for long enough and become a strong enough medium that she can stand against Beetlejuice or whatever. Because that would have been a lot cooler.
They could have tied a little bit more of the cartoon show lore into this without making her and Beetlejuice friends like they did in the cartoon. Because yes, Lydia could have arguably become more of a professional of understanding the underworld through her experience as a medium. And like you said, I think that would have been a stronger movie.
Yeah, Merle asks, do I like fun? Yes, I do, and I wanted to have fun in this movie, and the parts with Beetlejuice that's there are fun.
And the parts with Catherine O'Hara. I thought
a lot of her parts. She becomes the most sane and rational character for all but like 10 seconds of the movie.
Catherine O'Hara just General is hysterical, and I love watching her on screen. And oddly enough, I really like Justin Theroux. I couldn't stand him in this movie.
Well, and so he's a bad guy. You have this ex-wife that's a soul sucker who can kill the dead.
She's a bad guy.
And they make no explanations of it, and they just it's dumb and it doesn't matter. You have Justin Theroux, who's very obviously a creepy weirdo bad guy preying on Lydia. You have Beetlejuice, who's a bad guy who is preying on Lydia. You have
the Jeremy kid.
You have a character that comes in, and
he's not what he seems.
He turns out to be the most wicked and evil of all of them, right? And then you have the police that are there to stop your hero and anti-heroes. You have Danny DeVito, who's very clearly a bad guy.
He's only in it for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, but he's one of the worst ones. You just have too many villains packed into a movie that doesn't need more than Beetlejuice being the villain.
And I agree with you there. I did still have a really good time watching it. Because I had to separate myself from knowing I know that they're not going to make the movie that I want to see, but visually I had a good time and I got to see things that I liked.
Even with the really bad CGI claymation death scene, like the CGI claymation death scene was dumb.
For who? Oh,
Charles.
For Charles? Well, what else are they going to do? I think it could have been darker. I think the claymation could have been a little bit darker, but they can't. They can't.
They didn't need to have it as a claymation scene. They could have just told the death and then showed him wandering in the afterlife with the
head chunk taken off. But more people are too stupid for that. I think that they. But yeah, as they said, they're saying right now on our Twitch, like Jeffrey Jones is an IRL bad guy.
Well, and so that's why he's not there. And then someone asked
about the Maitlands,
if Alec Baldwin or Gina Davis
the Maitlands
was there. No,
only are referenced because they don't need to be because their story was finished.
Their story was finished, and it made perfect sense. They go, no, we finally found a way so that they could move on, and then the whole aspect of like the Soul Train and stuff would make sense because it has heaven, hell, great beyond for non-believers of whatever else, and then the
Limbo.
Elysium fields.
Yeah.
So there was cool things there for that, and all of that was left unexplored in favor of having 6 different plot lines that none of which made sense or even needed to be there, just for the main plot line to be short and rushed and leave everything lacking. And all of it to end in like a weird nightmare scene that doesn't make sense. The
nightmare scene at the end.
Yeah, that's the end of the movie. Everyone keeps asking if I like fun. This movie robs you of the fun that you could have had.
I had fun with it. I did. I had fun. Because I wasn't going in there like going, Beetlejuice is the masterpiece of the 1980s.
No,
I can't imagine anything being any better than this ever. And it's like, it's a movie about a ghost that eats bugs, farts, and boogers.
10 of the 17 minutes that Beetlejuice is on screen is not fun. And then the other part is the only fun in the movie.
Because I will say that he was not as Beetlejuicy as he should have been. Beetlejuice is...
In fact,
gross.
My favorite part and the funniest part of the entire movie was the end credits where they give all the shrunken head guys different names, and they just call them like Dave.
Thanks to Carl and Chad.
Phil. Yeah.
Vince asked, "How is Michael Keaton?" Yeah, Michael Keaton's fun. He's Beetlejuice. He's Beetlejuice. He knows how to be Beetlejuice, and I just think that they, like Jake said, where I will agree, there was too many plot lines. You can have a ton of characters, but have 2 very distinct plot lines. Not everybody needs a storyline, right? If this were going to be like a TV series, then okay, give all these people these crazy storylines because then we can explore all that. But when we're talking about less than 2-hour runtime and we have all these storylines that are intersecting with one another, it gets to be bogged down. I think that there is a edit of this movie that's phenomenal. And I also noticed in the trailer that there's a lot of stuff that was in the trailer that's not in the movie. And I've looked at there was a screen grab I just saw on the trailer where like Beetlejuice was holding a knife at Jenna Ortega's throat, and you're like, where was that in the movie? That wasn't in the movie. And I remember lines that Jenna Ortega said that were in the trailer that weren't in the movie. And I feel like this movie probably ended up having a lot more darkness into it, but by the time that it hit producers and test audiences and all that kind of stuff, that it got changed into a lot of different stuff. Mark Landry on YouTube said he loved the Soul Train bit. Thought that was a pretty funny joke. And as Vince just said on Twitch, he said, yeah, I looked up the runtime. Seems like a lot for an hour and 44 minutes. It was too much for an hour and 44 minutes. I think they could have trimmed a lot of characters out and stretched the movie to 2 hours, but like focus on like what Jake was talking about.
Well, and the wildest part of all of it is that, Lydia's producer or manager gets the majority of screen time, and
he does.
There's no development for that character beyond just, hey, this guy sucks. And then
he was trying to be the Otho of this movie, and it didn't land, and I think that...
You know why that worked is because Otho didn't have that much screen time.
He didn't have that much screen time.
And they're like, here he is, he sucks, he's going to make things difficult for everybody.
He's trying to meddle in things for sell, and they were trying to recreate that character. But I was impressed at how Winona Ryder, Michael Keaton, Catherine O'Hara slipped right back into their characters like nothing happened.
Well, and Lydia started out very cool with her like ghost hunter show and things like that. And you're like, well, that's a logical development for someone who can see ghosts and going into like the 90s and 2000s and things where like that kind of show can be something and she can be like some sort of famous medium and stuff like that in this world where all of these ghosts are, but then it's immediately ruined. It's just immediately just, they're like, nope.
We got to focus on Justin Theroux. We got to focus on 15 to 20 minutes of runtime for this lady that has... We're going to sell so many costumes at Spirit Halloween because everybody's going to be stapling things to her face. And, it wasn't the movie I wanted it to be, but I liked it. I didn't hate it because it wasn't the movie I wanted it to be, because I knew it was never going to be the movie I wanted it to be.
No, but it wasn't even really... much of a movie.
I'd watch it again.
I'll never watch it again.
If anything, that I appreciate the color palette, the direction, the lighting design, the practical sets. It is just a very fun, visually interesting movie to watch. Because movies are not made like that anymore.
No, and some of the practical effects are a lot of fun, and some of them are very lacking, I guess, because some of like the deflation stuff is really dumb. Some of it was fine, and then some of
the
it
first
was really
one was
bad.
good. The second one was
good.
a little bit. I'm like, all right, I already saw it once.
Yeah, the one where like the eyeballs
goes
pop and it's really cheap, very very cheap looking. That was kind of a letdown. So there's parts of it where the visual effects are fun. Every bit of the CGI is awful. The sandworm looked terrible.
That's just another stop motion.
No, but it wasn't.
When it was jumping through the sand, it looked a little rough. Like the first one where it came out, and was like, that was obviously stop motion. But when they made it animating like that, it wasn't great.
It appeared to be CGI stop motion. It didn't look like real stop motion. I don't know. There was no part of this movie that was fun outside of 75% of the Beetlejuice stuff.
Wow. Yeah. I still had fun. Jake didn't like it. I liked it. Take it with what you will. Vince on Twitch says, Jake, will you see Beetlejuice 3 if he didn't have to review it? I'll go ahead and answer that for him. I'm sure he won't.
All right. Yeah.
Like, he still won't watch good movies that I've tried to get him to watch.
Like what?
And you still won't watch Shogun, the show on AMC.
Oh, that's a show. I ain't got time for that horse crap.
Bullshit. You do.
I like
you wouldn't watch TMNT, the new Ninja Turtles that I told you to watch.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that,
and it's good. And you're like, no, principles.
Yeah, I mean, I like Hiroyuki Sanada, but I ain't got time for Shogun.
It's great, and you'd love it. Now that you've said I don't want to watch it, you're gonna like go to the grave, going like, well, I don't want to watch it, and then say, oops, I accidentally did like it.
I mean, it's not about that. It's just I don't want.
You're doing it right now.
I don't want to put the time.
You're doing it right now. All right, well, Beetlejuice.
I got Duckman to watch, bro.
That's right, Buttman. That was Beetlejuice in theaters right now. You don't let us make up your mind. Go see it. Go support movies. Go sit in the theater. Make your own damn mind. Give some theaters some money. Like go see it just because, and then go see it and then hate it and talk about us and say, oh, Jake was right, or oh, Bo was right, or oh, whoever was right, or oh, I'm right. Just go to the theater, buy a novelty popcorn bucket, have a good time. All right, well, it's time for the top 10 box office. Last segment of the show, we're going to give you the box office roundup for the past weekend, September 6th through 8th, 2024. Going to start with the number 10 movie in America and work our way down to number 1. Jake's going to tell you mostly domestic numbers because that's what the companies track. We'll throw out some global numbers for some of the bigger ones. So, yeah, Jake. Take it away.
Well, actually, I want to mention number 12 real quick. Coraline, 15th anniversary, is still out there. It's 4 weeks out. It made another $1.3 million. It's brought in $32.5 million. It is still running until the 19th. So that one's still out there if you want to watch stop motion animation. If you want to see a creepy stop motion animation film.
I mean, Coraline is, again, a very, very good movie. If you've never seen it, it is, in Beetlejuice mania right now. A lot of people, when they think of Tim Burton, they're like, oh, Nightmare Before Christmas. But what you don't realize is he did not direct Nightmare Before Christmas. It was Henry Selick who directed Nightmare Before Christmas. And Henry Selick is the one who also was behind Coraline and James the Giant Peach and Wendell and Wild and a lot of really cool things. And I know a lot of people think that Monkey Bone's not great, and they can shut up because I actually like Monkey Bone.
I'm one of those people.
I
wanted to like Monkey Bone because I like Brendan Fraser and Chris Kattan, and
theoretically it should be a lot better than it is. But Henry Selick is great, and I stand by Henry Selick. Okay, number.
So 10. Starting at number 10 now. The Front Room, one of like A24's worst openings I was reading. $1.6 million brought in by that one for the creepy old lady mother-in-law horror movie that is. And then at number 9, Despicable Me 4 in its 10th week out, $1.8 million. It's grossed $358 million here in the U.S. At number 8, Blink Twice. You talked about that a few weeks back. In its third week out, brought another $2 million, $20.25 million so far for that one. And then in there at number 7, hanging in the top 10, Twisters, another $2.1 million brought in by that one. 264.5, and it's 2 months out, another $100 million across the globe. So it's made about $367 million total. Not too bad for that one. And then at number 6, The Forge. That one has been out for about 3 weeks. $3 million brought in by that one. It's totaled around $21 million. And then holding at number 5, It Ends With Us. 5 weeks out, $3.7 million. It's brought in 141 in the U.S., another 168 across the globe, bringing its total to nearly $310 million. And then at number 4, dropping from the number 2 spot, Alien Romulus, movie meant for Hulu. 1 month out, it's brought in nearly another $4 million. Its total so far is at 97.2. Another 217 elsewhere in the world, $314.5 million for that one. So good choice moving that one to theaters. Then Reagan is coming in at number 3.
How?
Second week out. There's not a lot to watch, man. Almost $5 million this past week. So it's grossed a little over 18 million so far. And then dropping from the top spot, Deadpool and Wolverine at number 2, $7 million. It has $613.8 million in the U.S., another $673 worldwide. It's made $1.28 billion. How about it? At the number 1 spot, opening at the top spot, Beetlejuice, $111 million for it. I think after people have seen it and talk about it, I wouldn't be surprised if Deadpool and Wolverine
jumps back
to number 1 because everyone got Beetlejuice out of the way. I don't think it's anything that too many people are going to tell their friends they gotta go see.
Well, it's also going to have a little bit of October power on its side as people are getting into fall.
It may, and it takes place during Halloween, which is barely mentioned. But I think all of us that had plans to see it watched it, and I don't see too many of us just telling people you got to go see it. It's not theatrical necessary.
I think you should go see it. I think you should go see it.
I don't think you should.
I think you should go see it.
Anyhow, there it is. That's
That's your top 10.
top 10.
And before we get out of here, we didn't even talk about it last week because we ran out of time, but we got to sit in on a test screening. Hey, thanks for that sub, Merle. We got to sit in on a test screening from a guy that I know. He's a film director, and he directed a film that was shot here in Northwest Arkansas called In Fortune's Shadow, starring Theo Rossi and... why did I just slip on his name? Yondu from...
I had it. Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker. And we sat in on a test
With
screening.
special appearance by Jackie Earl Haley.
Oh, Jackie Earl Haley. And we got to give a lot of feedback on that, and it was surprisingly pretty good.
It was very good.
Yeah. And I've been talking to the director, David, and he wants to do another possible public sort of input screening, like a community input session that I might be helping him trying to coordinate here in Northwest Arkansas. So if you guys on Discord, like if you're in the Northwest Arkansas area and you might be interested in attending a test screening of this film and giving the director some just direct feedback that would be able to end up in a cut. I mean, all of this public input is important because it still needs to be color graded and have some special effects and stuff added, but it is a rough cut, and he really wants some local public input on making this movie better. And we've been talking locations, maybe Starlight Cinema. I'm pushing for the Fayetteville Public Library because it's here in Fayetteville, and might even be as soon as next week. So if you want to jump into the Discord, I will probably put details of that in the Discord when we get more information.
I think it was a pretty... I really, really enjoyed that movie, and I think it was all well put together. I don't know what would... make it better than where it's at right now outside of just
a little polish.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. I wish we could talk more about it. But
yeah, if you want to get on that, check us out on the Discord. Our link tree is drivingspeakerbox.com. You can find all the links that you want. But I am telling you right now, he is wanting to get on quick because he has to start sending the stuff off to post houses for final cutting pretty soon, and he's doing there's an online screener that he has got going in some other test markets, but he wants to do something here local, and he was looking at next Wednesday. So test screen at the 112 Drive-In. I wish, but we can't. But if you guys are interested, say something, either send me a PM or hit me up in the Discord, because I will have to. I'm trying to coordinate with him to see if there's enough interest in that. So anyway, all right, gang. Well, that is it. That is our show. We will be back next week, I believe, unless there's... I'm not going to be here the 16th, probably.
Well, that's Tuesday, because the 13th is Saturday. 14th is Sunday.
No, Monday the 16th.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I guess I won't be here next week. I'm going to Silver Dollar City next week with the team. Taking the team.
I have another friend that's going to Silver Dollar City on Monday. Well, then that means that Sunday is Blazing Saddles for Fathom events.
So maybe we'll come up here on that Sunday or that Tuesday and chat with you about movies. But stay tuned. If you want more information, all that, hit us up in the Discord. We will keep you posted there. So as always, I'm Bo, the boom operator.
I'm the Grip.
And we'll see you next week.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.